B&B 2020. Are you ready?
Next race up is the Mini GP 190/70 class. Riders in the waiting zone now, and let's have a look at the qualifying times. A bit of a depleted field, unfortunately, but it was Rhys Stevens who was the fastest qualifier, 41.41. Jordan Rushby, second position. Matthew Roysbrook in third, 43.55. Daniel Goodman and Luca Hopkins did not set a time, so they'll line up at the back of the field. This race sponsored by Race Fasteners Pro Light. So Mini GP 190 and 70. This is for riders 12 to 15 years and the seniors 15 plus. Once again, of course, this is very much there is some limited modifications allowed to the bikes, but very much a stock-based class. The riders now making their way down onto the grid for the first of the Mini GP 190 and 70 on the formation lap now. Rhys Stevenson, 23, on the inside line there. So it looks like we're ready to go. Mini GP 190/70 race number 1 is about to get underway. Good getaway there from the Stevenson, but a good line around the outside there. Jordan Rushby gets away also. They charge into the top corner for the first time. And up towards that top corner, of course, the pit bike stock class coming up next after this one, but good getaway there from the number 23. Down in towards the S's for the first time. Rhys Stevenson looking good at the front. We've got Jordan Rushby, Matthew Roysbrook in there as well. Daniel Goodman on the number 1, just a little bit further behind as the leaders make their way in towards the final corner for the first time. And charging through at the end of the first lap, Matthew Roysbrook on the 35, just ahead of Daniel Goodman. Rhys Stevenson in there as well on the 23. So Jordan Rushby all over the back here of Matthew Roysbrook. Very, very close indeed between these riders. Into the top corner. And now towards the back straight. And the 37, just 67, so just a little bit further behind. 35. Oh, trouble here though. Front wheel washing out. Now I think that may have been, was that Jordan Rushby? I'm not sure. It's one of the adult riders went down on one of the O'Varley bikes. The front wheel washing out on a very fast crash. The rider sitting up. Stevenson with the fastest lap of the race, 42.97. But the red flag is out because of that fall. The front wheel washing out, and the red flag has been displayed at the top of the track. Rider is still on the racing line, and this race has been brought, as you can see, there's the result of the fall. It was quite a high-speed tumble. Now, I think the rider's okay, but we'll have a look at this again, and we'll see what happened. The race has been stopped, and here we go through the S's, and oh, it's out of nowhere, really. Front wheel just seemed to tuck away on the exit of that corner. I don't think it's anything serious. Quite a high-speed crash, but don't think it's anything serious. The medics are on their way now just to check to make sure that's no injuries, but hopefully nothing too serious. But just goes to show how slippery this track can be with the high track temperatures. The grip just went out of nowhere. I think that was possibly the number 57 that went down. Rider is sat up on the safety barrier on the outside of the corner. You can see in your shot there, just talking to the medics. Everyone else is just stopping just to wait their turn, and we'll be back underway in just a few moments' time for this Mini GP 190/70. Race number 1 has been halted because of that spill, but hopefully we'll get things back underway in just a few moments. So in one of the smallest race classes of the day, it's been reduced by 1 as they make their way back towards the start line. Restart will be in just a few moments. And there we see the damage from that fall earlier on. Just making sure, I don't know if it did damage any of the radiators possibly, fluids possibly on the track, just making sure that bike's safely taken away. Now, of course, everyone else left in this race, led by Rhys Stevenson, they are going to get on the podium, of course. Just got to make sure they get round. So a 3-rider shootout we've got here in the Mini GP 190/70. Riders on the line now. And got the medical car just leaving the track now, although the rider is walking back, the 52 that was, that went down. And actually just out of shot, there's the medical car, but just out of shot, we're just seeing the injured rider walking back, animating almost how he went down. It wasn't anything, it was quite a high speed tumble, so not surprising it took a moment to recover from that one, but fortunately nothing serious. And then there were 3. There we go. Walking back to the pits with one of the medical crews, just explaining what went wrong. Fortunately, it was nothing serious, and in the meantime, we are about to get things back underway. Rhys Stevenson, Matthew Ruysbrook, and Daniel Goodman. Oh, and look at that. Great little move there on the inside. So we see Matthew Ruysbrook and Dan Goodman in there as well. 12 laps to go. Rhys Stevenson leading the way into the top corner. Down the back straight they go. So he was pulling away a few moments ago before that red flag came out. We've got 12 laps to go, so plenty of time to dispute who's going to take the top step on the podium here. Down the back straight in towards the final corner they go. Bike stock 140 will be following after this as the leading 3 remaining riders charge through. Rhys Stevenson leads, Dan Goodman in second place, Matthew Ruysbrook in third. Nothing much though between these 3 riders. Less than 1 second when they went through, so the 3 riders all very close. We have only got 3 riders remaining in this race. Certainly is a race of attrition, but it's still a race to be won here. And the 23 of Rhys Stevenson trying to stamp his authority on this one. Very close between these 3 riders, nothing at all really. There's the 57, Dan Goodman. Second place, Matthew Ruysbrook just a little bit further behind in third. There we see the 3 riders and Stevenson pulling away as they go down into the chicane for another lap. 8 laps to go. Goodman second, Ruysbrook in third. But Stevenson looking smooth through the chicane up towards the top of the track now. This is the furthest point away from the start-finish line. Has a quick glance over the shoulder to see where his 2 rivals are. It was a 2.3 second gap last time round, but it looks like Rhys Stevenson is getting to work here and putting in a very fast lap. He's visibly pulling away. There he is, 23 Stevenson. He's pulling away from Dan Goodman and Matthew Ruysbrook, the other 2 riders going through there. Down towards the final corner. It was 2.3 seconds, and Rhys Stevenson, 3 laps completed, 42.09. Very fast lap there from Stevenson. The gap goes up to 2.2 seconds. Ruysbrook still there in third. but Stevenson with a very fast lap. Daniel Goodman second, Matthew Roysbrook in third. And it's still closely fought between those two riders. So Goodman nice and smoothly through the S's, losing ground though on Rhys Goodman. Matthew Roysbrook in third though on the number 35, going down towards the final hairpin. Rhys Stevenson charging through and goes quicker again, 41.95, fastest lap of the race. Goodman second, Roysbrook third. Although in all fairness, all three of these riders lapping very quickly at the moment. The fastest lap, as we said a few moments ago, Rhys Stevenson with that 41.95, but the other two riders, Goodman and Roysbrook, are both lapping in the 43s here. But Rhys Stevenson really is starting to fly now with 6 laps to go. There we see the 35 of Matthew Roysbrook. At the moment in third place, this is the second place rider, the 57 of Dan Goodman, as Rhys Stevenson goes round the final corner. Daniel Goodman still there in second. Let's have a look at the lap charts when they go through, all lapping still in the 42s and the 43. So a good pace at the front in this Mini GP 190/70 class. A mixture of bikes out here. And this, as we see, Matthew Roysbrook going through perhaps the slowest part of the track, that little hairpin halfway down the main straightaway. Now winding their way back towards the finish line through this little SS style section, left, right, and left again. Very fast part of the track. Into that right-hander. As we've seen before, it's a bit slippy out there with the high track temperatures, but some good tyre choices, and most riders coping well with the conditions. Most certainly Rhys Stevenson, the race leader, again lapping in the 42s, maintaining a very good race pace out there. His fastest lap of the race was 41.95. Here he is now, Stevenson round the top corner. 41.95, his best lap of the race, and last time round he lapped in a 42.04. So Stevenson, the Bucci-Moto machine, really getting to grips well and putting down some consistent fast laps, and that's what it's all about, of course, the consistency as well, maintaining that good race pace. There he goes, Rhys Stevenson, your race leader again, 42.1 last time round. So very consistent pace, pulling away from Daniel Goodman by 1 second with 3 laps to go, although Daniel Goodman has still got Matthew Roysbrook just behind him in third place. Rhys Stevenson, meanwhile, 23. Here he is, your race leader, round the top corner and looking strong at the front of the field. Stevenson through the S's, down the back straight. 3 laps to go. This race, Mini GP 190/70, brought to you by Race Fasteners Pro Light. And leading the way is Rhys Stevenson, round the final corner and over the line to complete the lap. 2 laps to go. Stevenson looking very strong again, lapping in the low 42s, maintaining a good pace out there, pulling away all the time from Daniel Goodman and Matthew Roysbrook, who seem to have dropped off the lead pace at the moment. As you can see on the lap charts, the gap 7.7 seconds between first and second place. Roysbrook very close behind though in third on the number 35. But Rhys Stevenson, 23, your race leader through that S's section, long sweeping corners, down towards the final hairpin where he will take the 1 lap board. And he knows he's got this race all to himself at the moment, just got to keep it nice and smooth on the final lap. So 1 lap to go. Here we see the battle of a second, Dan Goodman and Matthew Roysbrook, and Rhys Stevenson incidentally with 1 lap to go. The man in shot now has set the fastest lapper of the race, 41.80. So although of course we've only got 3 riders left in this race, it's to take nothing away from how well Rhys Stevenson is riding here. He's setting a good consistent pace, and incidentally second and third have also picked up the pace here. Daniel Goodman and Matthew Roysbrook as they battle for second and third place. But Rhys Stevenson on the 23, down towards the final corner. Great ride for him, just got to get round this final corner cleanly, and the race victory will go to the number 23. Rhys Stevenson is your race winner, setting the fastest lap of the race with 2 laps to go there, and again lapping in the 41. Second place is Daniel Goodman with pressure from Matthew Roysbrook all the way through the race. So Although that race low on numbers, certainly high on quality. And back to some of our junior competitors with the Mini GP 119.70. Just to recap the grid on this one, Rhys Stevenson from Jordan Rushby and Matthew Roysbrook, Daniel Goodman and Luke Hopkins with no time. Now this one, Durban, we had, again, I think they're all guaranteed a podium here because it's a bit low on numbers, this one.
Yeah, the 190 is a fairly new class, and this is hopefully the progression route for some of these younger riders in the other Avali class as well to go through to the more powerful bikes. So the likes of Stevenson, young Stevenson, who's a phenomenal rider. You've seen him ride in many classes. Is the guy to catch on this. I mean, I've actually had to go on one of these bikes, and they are amazing. They're amazing.
And these, of course, a new class, of course, with the Ovalis as well. You would say, I think Peter Hickman was here last round. He was saying how, as like a young rider, it's the sort of thing he'd want to ride it because it looks the part, doesn't it, if nothing else. When you see him in the paddock, you get an idea on the video footage here. When you stand next to these bikes in the paddock, they certainly look like the part, don't they?
They definitely look the part. And to be fair, the whole Mini GP style bike is really like taking off at the moment, which is amazing. But if you stand at the side of the track as well and you actually watch these young riders coming around these corners with their elbows dragging on the ground, full throttle everywhere, it is amazing. It's amazing to watch. And you think, how far out of this paddock someone will go on, and hopefully we can watch their progression through.
And I think so as well, because it's similar to, well, I'm from the world of motocross, and it's
okay.
a bit of one of the oddities of the sport is it's a massive sport, but it's small at the same time, because not at the moment, of course, but you can go to Belgium and go and practice at Lommel, and you'll have like the world's top riders next to you. If you're a kid, you can just go and see them, and they'll be sitting in the back of the Sprinter van, that sort of thing.
And these kids aren't phased, right? So they're meeting the likes of Peter Hickman and at the last round the Richard Coopers of the world, and they'll take it to them. They're racing, and they're going for it, and they're trying to make their parents proud and people watching them at home proud. So it's just good to see, and I think through all the classes now, all the way from the 90s to the 190s, there's a progression route with the academy that we've started that gives them something to aim for, which I think is brilliant.
Oh, now what's going on is we sending in the troops here or something? I think this is just on the access road to the track. I don't know where the cameras are picked up here.
Well, let them move it, because it's a very tight road getting out at the end of the event.
Yeah, that's us knackered if that stays there. So that's sort of plenty going on down here. It is
it's a lovely area, isn't it?
It's a lovely part. It's warm, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely. It's a lovely part. It's warm. The beach is literally just down the road, so if you come into the next event here, it's definitely bring your sun cream, but it's quite a lot to do, like lots of beaches around here and stuff, so it's quite cool.
Yeah, this is very much, when you come down here, we come down the M20 and then turn past Ashford. Basically, it's just go as far south as you can, really, and this is at the end of the lane, pretty much.
Stop when you hit the chat. I had an interesting story of someone who was listening to the radio and they saw the sign for pick your lane for the Channel Tunnel, and they realised they'd just gone a bit too far, so there was panic stations had hit in, so it really is right down south. It's far for everybody.
This is a long way, but certainly it seems worth the trip. Everyone seems happy with the track. Of course, these sort of tracks might not be to everyone's taste, possibly, fast circuit, but everyone seems to be enjoying their day, though.
It's a challenging circuit with the chicanes, the two chicanes, and they're slightly different. One's slightly tighter than the other one. So the first one isn't quite as tight, and you can run quite a lot of curb. It's quite grippy on the way out. The second one really tightens up on you, so you kind of really having to throw it on your knee and just power out. So there is opportunity for overtaking there, obviously, but the idea, I think, on this track is just to carry as much speed as possible, so not shut off, turn and go. Just keep as much speed up as you can.
And perhaps what do you say about this, Durban, with the likes of here and Ella Park? They're not really staples on the calendar, but you go to Wilton Mill, which everyone goes to. It's central in the country and everyone's used to it. Is that going to play much of a difference, being familiar with the track, would you say? Or
yeah, so some guys come from Friday and they spend all weekend learning the track and they build up time straight away, but then some of the guys they've been in this paddock for a long time, so for a lot of the youth now, they'll go to Wilton once a week on a Tuesday night and practice, so that event at Wilton's just going to be crazy and super competitive. But this track for a lot of people is new for a lot of people, so it makes it more challenging and more fun, I suppose.
Certainly does. As the riders line up now for Mini GP 190, Rhys Stevenson, who's been in good form today, lines up at the front of the field of three, but nonetheless they had some good racing in the first one. It's still pretty close, and any one of these three could realistically take the flag. Here we go. Everyone gets away safely into the first corner. Reece Stevenson leads them. Daniel Goodman also in there as well. Matthew Ruysbrook also gets away well. But again, only 3 in this race, but nonetheless there's still pressure on. And all 3 of these riders, some are a bit quicker than others, you might say, but they're all fairly evenly matched as well.
Yeah, and they're also riding, incredibly fast bikes. So Reece Stevens riding the Bucci 190, I believe it is. It's a great machine. It's fast. He's riding it like if he's going to progress through to ride sports bikes in the future, then this is the perfect practice for someone like that. And you can see how fast and how comfortable he is on it. And the guys behind him might not quite carry the same speed. If you look at their approach, you look at how they're taking these corners, it's phenomenal at the ages that they are.
Of course, these riders, they are older kids or teenagers, basically. They're not very old, are they?
No, they're not. They're kids. And it's quite scary when you walk around the paddock as an old bloke like myself and you see these young kids and they're asking you what lap times you're doing and they're already 4 seconds quicker than you after the first session. It can be disheartening at times, but great.
Oh, nice little move there, wasn't it? Down the inside. That took some bottle there because that was the little mound you were talking to with that right-hander. It's quite a fast part of the track as well, and you've got to be committed there. It's a bit of cooperation between the riders as well, not to just stick it down the inside and cause a crash as well.
There's been a couple of incidents into that corner. It's because some people will roll off and some people will carry the corner speed. So it's like a pinch point. So yeah, you have to. If you're going to send it down there, you've got to be committed that you're going to make it stick.
So good move there from Daniel Goodman. Looks like he's moved up another position at the moment. Of course, we never like to say these things, commentators curse and all that, but Reece Stevenson clearing away at the moment, lapping in the 41s, 41.93, fastest lap of the race. These 2 riders lapping around the 43, 44 second region. So Reece Stevenson got a little bit of an edge on Goodman, the rider in shot now, and Matthew Ruysbrook as they go into the final corner. Stevenson looking very neat around that final corner again. Almost clipping the apex on the exit there, quicker on the outside than the entry.
He uses all the track. And he's running 41 second lap times, which isn't far off the fastest laps for the Super Mini race that it was on before. So it's really impressive.
Certainly with these smaller bikes as well, they are powerful machines, but it's a case of keeping it in that power range because you don't want to be taking the wrong lines and losing the power really.
Yeah, on this track, one bad corner means you have 4 bad corners, or you've lost all your pace when you get to the end of the straight. So it really is a really flowy track. You've got to keep your speed up.
Really does seem to suit the smooth riders such as Reece Stevenson coming in towards the final corner now. Still about 4 seconds. We'll check the gap as they go through. Stevenson still lapping in the 41s, fastest lap of the race with a 41.86. The gap goes up to 5.3 seconds from Daniel Goodman and Matthew Ruysbrook in third, both lapping in the 43 second region. So all 3 riders circulating well in this event, sponsored by Race Fasteners Pro Light, and we see Daniel Goodman, Matthew Ruysbrook in third. It's unfair to say in last place, but
we'll say third, shall we?
Third sounds better, doesn't it? In all fairness, they're not just showing up; they are having to race here because any one of these, we don't want to say nasty things, but Reece Stevenson could make a mistake, and these 2 could well be in it still.
Yeah, it might be smaller numbers, but they are racing. The guy who's in third place, Rushbrook, is it?
Matthew Ruysbrook in third, 7.6 seconds.
He's not giving up. He could be disheartened by being in third place, but he's still chasing. And sometimes this is a learning experience for them. They'll take this from this round, and next round there could be 5, there could be 6 people in this race. So it's the fact that he's sticking in there and he's still pushing on. It's a learning for them. It's early days in their career, isn't it?
And in all fairness, you would say to Ruysbrook here in third, he's, like you say, he's still charging away. Sometimes I've been in these sort of races before where there's not many people in the race, but they're all fairly good. And you're towards the back, but it's almost a race in itself to keep pace. It's almost like a cycling race, almost, not to lose the pace.
Yeah, you don't want to be dropped, because as soon as they break that toe, then you just fall back and back and back. So the fact he's still sticking there, he's not actually that far behind. One mistake, one too quick into one corner, it'll close back up really quickly on this track.
So the gap, 8 seconds between first and second, 9.3, the gap between the whole pack here, so it's still finely poised. Reece Stevenson again putting some nice laps in though here, 41.44 last time round, fastest lap of the race. Goodman on the 57 still, dipping into the 42s now, just a bit quicker than Matthew Ruysbrook in third. 6 laps to go, and this race still finely poised despite there being only the 3 runners left in this one. But Reece Stevenson Again, 41.6, another fast lap for him there. Daniel Goodman goes through in second. Matthew Roysbrook not too far behind though, still in third place. Just under 2 seconds between second and third place, and they're both very similar lap times as Daniel Goodman just dips into the 42s now. 42.54 last time round, 43.09 for Matthew Roysbrook, still finely poised. And Rhys Stevenson running nicely. They're consistent lap times here in the 41s as he pulls away from Goodman in second.
Yeah, and they're consistent as well. They're hitting the same lines lap after lap. You know, they're not all over the place. Rhys is doing a consistent lap times, which means that he's definitely dialed in with that bike anyway, as you can see. But the fact that they're all so consistent is, you know, again, it's what a great way to come here and put on your talent in front of everyone and be able to run at that pace, which is some of the quickest times of the weekend, consistently lap after lap in this heat. It really is impressive.
Well, let's have a look at Stevenson making his way back towards the finish line, still lapping in the 41s, which is still good going. And as we say, more grip than it would anticipate, but still very warm, tough conditions. So let's have a look at Stevenson round the final corner. 3 laps to go next time round, nice and neatly, and still 41.5. There's tenths of a second, which every single lap has been tenths of a second between his lap time. So he really has got this bike dialed and this track sorted out by the looks of things.
Yeah, he is a naturally smooth rider there. You can see that everything he's jumped on, I think today he's gone pretty quick on. The good thing about him as well, he's not afraid to, you know, run curbs and to bang bars with other riders. So he's definitely pushing on. He's one to watch for the future. Well, not even that much of the future. He's already making the older guys work really hard already. So,
well, certainly is a factor in this championship as Rhys Stevenson still the gap 13 seconds. So you wouldn't say this race is over at the moment, but looking good with 2 laps to go. We're still second and third. Daniel Goodman and Matthew Roysbrook, not much between second and third, and Roysbrook, the tail ender, still doing a great job of tagging on to the second place Daniel Goodman. Now, to me, 2 laps to go. It looks like Daniel Goodman is a bit quicker here. He is pulling away slowly from Roysbrook, but like you say, it would be easy for Roysbrook to lose that toe, but he's still hanging on in there and still within striking distance if Goodman makes a mistake.
Yeah, and with only 3 of them on there, then, you know, if anything happens, then he's there to capitalise. So he needs to keep chugging along, and he'll be learning as well, right? So he'll be getting better. All these laps he's doing, chasing, pushing himself. He'll be tired now because they've been racing all day. It's been hot all day, so, you know, still the lap times are consistent. So they've obviously got a lot of energy. I can see him trying to push the bike to go faster down the straight. But no, really consistent as he shakes his head coming across the line, I think.
Still not too much in it, but Rhys Stevenson still lapping in the 41s. It's a workmanlike performance, you would say here. Every single lap has been consistent, and Rhys Stevenson through that S's style section of the final time down the back straight, and Rhys Stevenson on the 23 has been in top form, and Mini GP 190 moto number 2 will go to Rhys Stevenson. Over the line he goes, and it's been a top race for him. Daniel Goodman will be in second place. Just waiting for him to come down the back straight now. There he goes, Daniel Goodman round the final corner nice and neatly. Goodman in second, and Roysbrook bringing up the field in third, but not too far behind. And considering the pace of that race, it was still fairly close at the end.
Yeah, I think that's a good result for Matthew. I think, you know, he's obviously going to be disheartened because he did fall back a little bit, but, you know, for the parents, for the children,